podcast. Running it back from Tuesday. We're back on the two-a-days. Feels good to be back in the midst of things, in the heat. But we got a first-time guest here, bro. Tanner motherfucking Collins, all repping his Jets gear and everything. It's been a minute, man. What you been up to? Tell the listeners.
Dude, thank you guys for having me on. It's just been chilling, working with Mitchell over at the golf course, washing golf carts, putting them back out. Not much of anything over there.
Good shit, man. Well, good shit. We love to hear it. Glad to have somebody on. We did this last summer where we kind of brought in specific fans, and had conversation with them. It's a good time, especially with, I don't know anybody that's a Jet fan except you. So, yeah, it's good to...
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, it's good to run it. But, boys, Jaden, Mitch, how we doing?
Good. Glad to be back doing 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Me too. Let me got the the title on motherfucking test stream again, which was nice. I know, fucking win, but it is what it is. We're back in here, but yeah. So we're breaking down the AFC East off seasons today. And like we did on Tuesday, we're going to run through our favorite moves, worst moves, draft thoughts, overall off-season grades, and then an over-under on the win totals that are set. I believe it was by the New York Post where I found them. And they probably got them from BetMGM, wherever the fuck. So, yeah, we're diving into it. And first, we got and Jacob McLaren hits us with his annual, or not annual, but routine Go Ravens comment. Appreciate it, man. We actually had that episode on Tuesday, so we'll be light on the Ravens content. But yeah. All right. So without further ado, let's dive into the AFC East, and of course, we are leading off with the New York Jets, man. So a little recap of their offseason. I'll go ahead and read off the graphic. Like I said yesterday, these are just like the notable additions and subtractions. But on the addition side, they bring in running back Breece Hall out of Iowa State, which is awesome in the second round. Wide receiver Garrett Wilson in the first round as well. Then they sign guard Laken Tomlinson over from San Francisco, bring him over to New York. They signed Jermaine Johnson at the end of the first round, which was kind of shocking for a lot of people because after he showed out at the Senior Bowl, a lot of people expected, and Senior Week in general, a lot of people expected him to move up in the draft, maybe top 10, but he falls to the Jets. And then with the number 3 overall pick, they go number 4 overall pick, they go Ahmad Sauce Gardner, the corner out of Cincinnati. And on the departure side, Jamison Crowder, he's headed out of town. Offensive tackle Morgan Moses used to play for the Skins back in the day. And then defensive tackle Foley Fatukasi. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go. And then Marcus May is also headed out of town in New York. So, Tanner, I'll hand it off to you right away, man. Initial thoughts, how we feeling about it?
I think we had a really good offseason. Obviously, I think we missed on some big names in the wide receiver market. Tyreek Hill, most notably, obviously going to the Dolphins. Deebo Samuel, there was a rumored offer there out there for him, but we missed on him as well, which I'm fine with. We got Garrett Wilson, and his yearly salary is like $5 million a year instead of $25-30 million. Hopefully we can spend that money next offseason on something better. We've got to re-sign Quentin Williams as well, most likely. The departures didn't really matter to me other than Jamison Crowder. He has been our most consistent wide receiver since he's been there, unless he's obviously injured. But I think it's more – it sucks more because he's gone to the Bills more than we lost him. If he had gone to the NFC, I wanted him to go to a contender. I'm rooting for him. Well, I was going to root for him, obviously, on a contender. But him going to the Bills is just an upgraded Cole Beasley, which really sucks that we've got to face him and Stephon Diggs twice a year. But I think our offseason was really good. I think we killed it in the draft. it was insane to get Jermaine Johnson. I was watching it with my friend Mason. And I was just like, dude, this is the one. This is the pick. We're going to get him. This is it. This is the one. It was like from 12 all the way to 26. And then they said we traded in. I couldn't believe that we actually did it. So I think we had a great draft. I think we had a really good offseason, filled a lot of holes instead of spending money, all willy-nilly, kind of like we used to. Joe Douglas has a plan, so I trust him.
Oh, yeah, man. And you got Robert Saleh over there leading the crew. And, optimistic offseason, that's not something you can say very often as a Jets fan. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
No.
Yeah. Good shit. So, but Jaden, I wanted to ask you, man, and Mitchell, you too, because you guys were draft experts. Why do you think Jermaine Johnson fell so far in general?
I mean, I think it was kind of false, him getting falsely inflated to begin with. I think the Jets were fueling a lot of the hype of him going at 4. I don't know what their motive of that being was, but I didn't hear anything about the Giants or any of the other teams really in the top 10 talking about Jermaine Johnson that highly, except for the Jets. But I mean, when you can get a guy that you were thinking about it for, whether that be genuine or not, down at 26, I still think that's
sure. Mitchell, you align with those thoughts?
Yeah, he pretty much ended up where they initially had him going because he only had one true breakout season. A lot of the stuff around draft time is just a lot of hype to see if someone bites and leave someone you really like available. And the Jets had 2 picks in the top 10. Maybe they were trying to get someone to bite within the top 10 on a guy they only kind of like maybe at the moment because they did wait until 26 to get him, and it left Garrett Wilson wide open for the taking for them.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, initial thoughts on favorite moves, boys. What are we thinking, Jaden and Mitch? I can go ahead first. And huge fan of Laken Tomlinson signing 3 years, $40 million, just because you're really starting to solidify that line officially. Because you bring in Laken Tomlinson, you'll probably move him in at left guard, then move Elijah Vera-Tucker over on the right side, and then you got Mekhi Becton already over there as well. So you're really putting together a solid offensive line to protect your own quarterback. What were your guys, some of your favorite moves? Jets.
Personally, I really like the Garrett Wilson pick because you have Corey Davis, you have Elijah Moore, and now you have Garrett Wilson. You have a somewhat of a 3-headed monster if Wilson pans out, and you can just become an air raid offense now with Zach Wilson. It's kind of, everybody's been saying it now, it's kind of like the Bengals. They might not have that Jamar Chase alpha out of any of them, but you have 3 really good receivers, and you can have 3 receivers at all time with a good running back in the backfield now with Breece Hall, and trust him to run and create opportunities for those receivers.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a huge fan of what they did with Garrett Wilson, pairing him up with Elijah Moore, who I think Elijah Moore, I mean, I don't know about you, Tanner. I think Elijah Moore is set for a huge season. Probably, I don't know. Hot take, maybe 1,000+ yards, 8+ touchdowns.
I don't think it's that hot.
No? Damn.
No, I think Elijah Moore is the alpha. I think he's our best receiver. I love Garrett Wilson. We don't know what he's going to do in the NFL, but there was 3 or 4 stretch games of that, or last year that Elijah Moore was like a top 5 receiver in all the NFL, right. And then he got hurt. So I believe in him. That's why I got his jersey, but we'll see.
And A.J. Brown talks him up like he's the next for real wide receiver 1 because they were super close at Ole Miss or whatever. But Jaden, you were about to say something, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm right there with Mitchell on Garrett Wilson. I know that's kind of easy, but I really like bringing him in. You get to move Corey Davis down to be a number 2. You get to move Elijah Moore into the slot. Now you can do a lot more things with your offense. I also really do like getting Breece Hall, though. Going to get the number 1 running back just adds another element to this offense, takes the load off of Zach Wilson a little bit more, and just creates a lot of playmakers on this team, adding C.J. Uzomah in there as well. Now you've got a lot of really good pass catchers on this roster.
One thing that I was a little bit concerned about, and a lot of people have been talking about this, pairing up Breece Hall with MCJ, like what happens to Michael Carter Jr. now? I mean, I was a huge fan of Michael Carter Jr. last year. I mean, it could definitely be a running back by committee, but Tanner, what are your thoughts there, man? You like the running back duo you got now?
Yeah, I love it. I thought Michael Carter last year, every time he touched the ball, he'd get an extra 3 or 4 yards. our line was really bad and banged up, so he really only got 3 or 4 yards a carry. But he doesn't have the home run hitting speed that Breece Hall does. And he was in a backfield committee at North Carolina with Javonte Williams. He was never the number one there either. I think this fits him very well, and I think it fits Breece Hall very well too. I think, they always talk about it, getting home run hitters, and Breece Hall is a home run hitter. So I'm totally fine with that pick, and I think it'll help Michael Carter more than it'll hurt him because I don't think he's actually can carry the ball 20 times a game.
Right. Got you. Jaden and Mitch, you guys kind of fucking with that mindset? You guys think it'll be a solid running back by committee, or one guy overtakes the other, or do you think they'll really complement each other well? What you think?
I mean, with the LaFleur offensive scheme, they're going to run that Shanahan style where they do like a committee there. So having Breece Hall there with Michael Carter does make a lot of sense. I do feel like Breece Hall is going to produce a lot more. So, like, fantasy purposes, he's definitely your guy. And I feel like Michael Carter is going to kind of fall by the wayside towards the end of the season because those, even though they do usually do a committee there, by the end of the season, you start seeing that guy that's getting the bulk of the carries. And I do think that's going to end up being Breece Hall, especially with the assets that they've invested into him.
All right, so worst moves overall by the Jets. I mean, we haven't really talked a whole ton about the negatives. I mean, they had a fucking great offseason. A lot of it came in the draft, and I mean, is it comfortable to say that they had the best draft, or is that overstepping a little?
I think it's
I'm
pretty
still
safe.
I'm still opting with Baltimore's draft.
Top 3 at least.
Jets are definitely like top 2. Yeah, top 2, top 3 for sure.
But any worse moves that pop off the page to you guys?
Morgan Moses definitely hurts because he was cheap to the Ravens. That's the main reason why. And now you have to see if Elijah Vera-Tucker can be that right tackle at this point, especially with Mekhi Becton kind of still looming with those rumors about him maybe not being fully healthy at the moment.
I think they're going to end up rocking Fan
so
at
too.
tackle and then keeping Vera-Tucker inside. Yeah, because I think they gave him a little bit of money either last offseason or the one before that, and then keep Vera-Tucker guard. I was always like a big believer that they would take a tackle. Like, I thought they were going to get Evan Neal. I did that in almost every mock draft we did, just because they had 2 top 10 picks and they had the ability to do that. But I really like the fact that they were able to put a lot of stuff around Zach Wilson. I don't think that I could say that there's anything that I wish they did a little bit more. Like maybe go get an edge guy because like the whole thing is, Salah loves his edge guys, and in San Francisco they've typically neglected corner, and they seem to be going an opposite way here. But I mean, Sauce Gardner's a fantastic player. You get him at number 4 overall. I think that's still very good
Tanner,
value.
were you like head over heels for Sauce over Derek Stingley? I mean,
yeah,
I know that Derek Stingley.
Oh my God, man, I love Sauce Gardner so much. He was my favorite player in the draft. Mitchell and I have talked about this privately. Like, I didn't think that we'd take him. I told Mitchell the week of the draft, I was like, that's who I'd take. I don't think they're going to do it. But there was a really interesting interview where they asked Robert Saleh and they asked Joe Douglas about Kyle Hamilton actually early on in the draft process. And like, would you take a safety? And they said, we'll take a unicorn at any position. It doesn't matter what position it is. We don't really care about positional value. And that stuck with me because everybody's like, oh, cornerback. Like our top beat writer was like, oh, they don't care about cornerback. It's no way it's going to be Ahmad Gardner. He was the unicorn. He's 6'3", 220, runs a 4.4. I mean, he didn't allow a touchdown in college. I mean, this kid is legit. He's a legit shutdown corner. And your edges can have another, quarter second to get to the quarterback when that happens. And that makes all the difference. So
what do you say to those people that are like, oh, shit, I mean, he didn't allow any touchdowns in college, but he did play at Cincinnati. Who's he really going up against? What's your clap back to that?
I mean, he shut down Jameson Williams in the what's it called game. Like, just completely took him off the map. He got 60 yards. One of them came on a 40-yard reception where Jameson had to dive for the ball and Ahmad was in his pocket.